Hello and welcome to Jadwiga's Fairy Tale channel. Today with another video about fairy tales. And this is about the healing power of fairy tales. I have already mentioned that there are 7 steps, archetypal steps, 7 steps of our human development in each and every fairy tale. These are steps that every person, no matter how old or what culture or what social background, has to pass. Because it's just part of our human nature. We need to do these steps to develop ourselves. And you probably all know children, little children, who want to have repeated one and the same fairy tale again and again and again, and they cannot get enough of it. They know it by heart, they know every single detail, and still they wanted to repeat it. And this might be because this child is on a developmental level, just going to pass the next step, and that fairy tale talks exactly about that step and shows the solution, shows how to take that step. And only after the child has done this step for itself, it doesn't need this fairy tale any longer. So please, dear parents and grandparents, don't tell these children, oh, yes, this is boring, you should choose another fairy tale. You know that, you have listened to that so many times. No. This child still needs that fairy tale. And it could not explain why, but it feels it inside of its heart. So don't worry, go on telling this one. Every teller, fairy tale teller, also knows situations when tears rise in the eyes of grown-ups, of the audience of grown-ups, because also adult people can be touched very deeply by fairy tales, and this is their job actually. And we also know that people with dementia or Alzheimer very often enjoy hearing, listening to fairy tales, because maybe their brain doesn't function so well anymore, but their emotion and their soul is still functioning. And since the fairy tales talk to us on this level, you can reach people with dementia or Alzheimer's with fairy tales. And there is also a fairy tale therapy. Psychologists who work with fairy tales to heal their clients. Many times they do that by choosing the fairy tale which their clients loved the most during their childhood. And then with this fairy tale, they go step by step and find the fears and the blockages and the constrictions and whatever hinders this person to develop freely. Yes, and last but not least, there is an organization called Tell Us Without Borders. And these people go wherever they are needed to help and bring peace and freedom by telling fairy tales. They do that in senior homes for people with dementia. They do that in schools where there are problems and aggressions, and in parts of towns with social problems, with a high criminal rate or whatever, with poor people or people from other countries. So they go there and tell fairy tales, and they heal. Believe it or not, they heal with telling fairy tales. And even when they go to areas where terrible things happened, like an earthquake or a terrible flood or a war, or where traumatized people are, they go there and tell fairy tales. Of course, it's the best when these people tell the language of these traumatized people. But it even works when the tellers speak a language that the people in need do not understand. And a refugee from Syria once said, "This is because we don't hear fairy tales with our brains. We hear fairy tales with our souls and hearts. And this is why the message reaches us even if we do not understand the language." Isn't that fantastic? I wish you a wonderful night, and maybe you'll let yourself touch and heal by fairy tales. Bye.